If you have lost more than one baby, this prayer already knows something about you that the rest of the world refuses to understand. It knows that your grief is not one grief. It is many. It knows that every loss did not simply add to your pain, it multiplied it, because each time you had to grieve the new baby and reopen the grief of the ones before, all at once in the same body, in the same heart. And it knows that somewhere along the way you stopped telling people because their responses became unbearable. At least it was early. You can always try again. Maybe it was not meant to be. Everything happens for a reason. Each sentence landed like a stone on a heart that was already carrying more than anyone knew. So you learn to grieve quietly. You learn to smile at baby showers. You learn to answer the question, do you have children, with a pause that nobody notices but that costs you everything. If you are that woman, I want you to stop for a moment right now and hear this. You are not cursed. You are not broken. You are not being punished. You are a mother who has loved more than once and lost more than once, and the fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still capable of pressing play on a video like this one, is one of the quietest forms of courage this world has ever produced. This is a healing prayer for mothers who lost more than one baby. Not a prayer that will ask you to move on. Not a prayer that will blur your babies together into one vague sadness. Each one of them will be honored here. Each one of them will be named if you are ready to name them. Each one of them will be treated as what they are, a real child, your real child, no matter how many weeks they stayed. Before we begin, 2 small things. If this channel is new to you, subscribe now, because every week we create healing prayers for the pain that people carry in silence, the losses nobody sends flowers for, the grief that hides behind the words "I am fine." And save this video because this kind of grief does not follow a calendar. It returns on due dates that never became birthdays, on the anniversaries only you remember, on the day a pregnancy announcement appears on your screen and your chest tightens before you can even name why. You will want this prayer close on those days. Save it now while you are thinking of it, because on the hard days your hands will not have the strength to search, but they will remember how to press play. I also want you to know whose heart is holding this space with you. The words you are about to receive were not assembled from research articles by someone untouched by this. They come from a therapist with more than 20 years of experience accompanying women through the deepest losses of their lives, and from a woman who has lived this exact grief in her own body, not once but again and again. She knows what it is to see the second line and feel terror instead of joy. She knows what it is to hold hope and dread in the same breath. She knows the silence of an ultrasound room, the particular silence that arrives just before the words "I am so sorry." So nothing in this prayer is theoretical. Nothing here will rush you, fix you, or explain your babies away. Here is what we will do together. First, I will tell you what is actually happening inside your heart, your brain, and your nervous system when loss happens more than once, because you deserve to understand why this grief feels the way it feels, and why nothing about your reaction is excessive. Then we will prepare your body gently, so the prayer can reach the places you have been protecting for years. And then the prayer itself, long, warm, and unhurried, a prayer that does not beg, does not bargain, and does not plead, because you have done enough pleading on cold bathroom floors and in hospital corridors. This prayer simply opens, receives, and directs a river of relief straight into your heart, the heart of a daughter of God who has carried more than her share. You are allowed to cry from the very first minute. You are allowed to pause this video and come back. You are allowed to listen with the lights off, under the covers at 3 in the morning, in the only hour when your grief is permitted to exist out loud. However you arrived here, you arrived, and that is enough. So take one slow breath. Let your shoulders come down from your ears. Nobody here needs you to be strong. Nobody here will ask how far along you were, as if love could be measured in weeks. Nobody here will suggest that your babies were interchangeable, replaceable, or forgettable. They were not. They are not. Each one changed you. Each one is still yours. Stay with me now, because what I am about to explain in the next few minutes may finally put words to what you have carried alone all this time. And those words, I promise you, will feel like someone turning on a light in a room where you have been sitting in the dark for years. Let me tell you what repeated loss actually does inside a woman, because almost nobody explains this, and the not knowing has left you feeling like something must be wrong with you. When you lose one baby, your heart breaks. When you lose more than one, something different happens. Your nervous system begins to learn. It learns that hope is dangerous. It learns that joy is the sound the floor makes right before it disappears. This is why, if you conceived again after a loss, you could not simply be happy. Your body would not allow it. Every bathroom visit became an inspection. Every cramp became a verdict. Every quiet day without symptoms became a threat. People around you said, just relax, just be positive, and they had no idea they were asking your nervous system to ignore its own memory. A body that has lost before does not experience pregnancy as expectation. It experiences it as exposure. That is not weakness. That is biology doing exactly what biology does after repeated pain. Protecting you from a blow it has already felt and never wants to feel again. And there is more. Grief researchers speak of disenfranchised grief, the grief the world does not recognize, the grief that receives no funeral, no casseroles, no bereavement leave, no cards in the mail. Pregnancy loss lives there, and repeated pregnancy loss lives in the deepest corner of it. Because after the first loss, some people showed up. After the second, fewer. By the third, you may have told almost no one because you could not bear to manage their discomfort on top of your devastation. So each baby was grieved in a smaller and smaller circle, until you were grieving entirely alone, sometimes while smiling at work, sometimes while comforting the very people who should have been comforting you. Hear me clearly. Grief that is never witnessed does not shrink. It compresses. It moves into the body. It settles into the chest, the throat, the belly, the womb. It shows up as exhaustion no sleep can touch, as tension no massage releases, as a flinch when someone announces they are expecting. Your body has been holding memorial services alone in silence for years, and every one of those services was real, attended by a congregation of one. And heaven counted every single one of them even when no human being ever knew they were happening. There is also the cruelest weight of all, the one I need to name directly because you have carried it in secret. The belief that your body failed, that your womb is broken ground, that other women can do the one thing you cannot. I have sat across from so many women drowning in that exact belief, and I have felt its teeth in my own life, so let me say what your heart needs to hear from someone who knows. Your body did not betray you. Your body tried every single time with everything it had. Your body held on as long as it could, and when it could not, it grieved with you in hormones and tears and sleepless nights. Medicine itself will tell you that most losses happen for reasons no mother caused and no mother could have prevented. You did not lose your babies because of the coffee, the stress, the lifting, the worry, or any of the midnight accusations you have filed against yourself. You lost them and it broke you, and none of it was your fault. And here is what 20 years of walking beside grieving mothers has taught me. Alongside my own losses, the women who carry multiple losses are not carrying one sorrow with several dates. They are carrying several children. Each baby was a separate universe of hope. Each one had a due date your mind calculated within hours of the test. Each one had a nursery you decorated in your imagination, a name you tried out in whispers, a future you had already started loving. When the world lumps them together as your losses, plural and vague, something in you protests because they were never a category. They were individuals. Each had its own season, its own light, its own particular shape of hope. And healthy healing, real healing, does not blur them. It honors them one by one. This is what the prayer ahead will do. It will not treat your grief as a problem. It will treat it as evidence of a motherhood that is completely real. Because you are a mother. I need you to receive that sentence without argument. Motherhood begins in the heart, not in the delivery room, and your heart has been a mother many times over. The love you built for each baby did not evaporate when their heartbeat stopped. It is all still in you, every ounce of it, and part of your pain is simply that love standing in a room with no one to hold. The prayer will give that love somewhere to go. If tears are already rising, let them. They are years overdue and they are welcome here. Stay with me now as we prepare your body, because a heart that has been guarding itself this long deserves to be opened gently, slowly, and with the tenderness of someone who knows exactly how much it has survived. Now we prepare, and I ask you to give these few minutes your full presence because your body has spent years bracing, and a braced body cannot receive. Find a place where you can be undisturbed. Your bed is perfect. Couch is perfect. Your parked car is perfect. If the only private place you have is the bathroom, then let that bathroom become a sanctuary tonight, because heaven has never once been limited by a room. Settle into a position you can hold. Let the furniture take your full weight. You have been holding yourself up for so long. In waiting rooms, at family dinners, through announcements and showers and christenings that quietly shattered you. For the next while, you hold nothing. You are held. Now place one hand over your heart. Feel its warmth through the fabric. This hand honors the love you built for every single one of your babies. Love that is still alive, still warm, still yours. And now place your other hand low on your belly, over your womb. Do this gently, even if this is the part of your body you have been angry at, even if you have avoided touching it, even if it has felt like enemy territory for years. Tonight we begin making peace with it. This womb was not a place of failure. It was the first home your babies ever knew. It was where they were loved at the closest possible distance, held in warmth, surrounded on every side, closer to your heartbeat than any other human being will ever be again. Whatever happened there, love happened there first and love happened there most. Let your hand rest on that truth. Begin to slow your breathing now. Nothing forced. Simply allow each exhale to become a little longer than the inhale, because a long exhale is how you tell your nervous system in its own language that the emergency is over, that tonight there is nothing to inspect, nothing to monitor, nothing to lose. Breathe in softly through your nose. And let it go slowly, like setting down a bag you have carried through several airports. Again. And once more. Now I am going to offer you 4 permissions and I want you to actually take them, not just hear them. The first, you are allowed to cry at any point at any volume without apology. Tears are the body finally speaking after years of being hushed. The second, you are allowed to feel everything that surfaces, the sorrow, the anger, the envy of pregnant strangers that you have never confessed, the numbness, even relief in places you cannot explain. Every feeling is welcome and none will be judged. The third, you are allowed to count all of them. All your babies. Even the earliest ones. Even the ones no one else ever knew about. Even the ones you were told did not count. In this space, every one of them counts fully, completely, forever. And the fourth permission, the deepest one, you are allowed to remain their mother. This prayer will never ask you to release them, to close the chapter, to let them go. We do not let go of children here. We let go of guilt. We let go of shame. We let go of the crushing weight, but never the babies. They stay. Now, with your hands where they are, set your intention. Bring your babies to mind one by one in the order they came to you. If you gave them names, say each name silently, slowly, like lighting one candle after another. If you never name them, you may do it right now, tonight, in this moment. Choose the names your heart has been carrying, or simply call them my first, my second, my third, and know that heaven understands you perfectly, because heaven has been calling them by name since before you ever knew they existed. As each one passes through your mind, tell them, I am doing this for you and for me. I have not forgotten you. I could never forget you. Feel how your heart responds under your hand. That warmth, that ache, that swelling, that is not damage. That is motherhood, alive and intact. 2 last things before the prayer begins, and then nothing will interrupt us. If this space is reaching something in you, subscribe to this channel now, so these prayers can find you on the days you will need them, and so other mothers grieving in silence can be found the way you were found tonight. And save this video because the hard dates are coming, the due dates, the anniversaries, the month that always hurts, and on those days you will not have the strength to search. Save it now while your hands remember how. From here forward it is only prayer. No requests, no reminders, only warmth. This prayer does not beg and does not plead, because you, daughter of God, were never meant to grovel for comfort that was already yours. It simply opens the door and lets the love pour in. So take one more slow breath. Let it out even slower. Feel your heart under one hand and your womb under the other. The 2 places where your whole story lives. You are safe now. You are held now. And every single one of your babies is welcome in this room. Let us pray. Divine Presence, eternal love, Father and Mother of every soul, I come into your light tonight not as a beggar but as a daughter, and I bring my whole story with me. I bring every baby I have ever carried. I bring every test I held with shaking hands. I bring every heartbeat I heard and every heartbeat I waited for that never came. I do not come pleading because you have already seen it all, and love that sees everything does not need to be convinced. I simply come to be held, and I open my heart now to receive what has been waiting for me all along. You were there every time. You were there the first time when the joy was still innocent, when I told people early because it never occurred to me that I would have to untell them. You were there in the moments I have never described to anyone, on the bathroom floor, in the shower where I let the water hide the sound of me, In the car outside the clinic where I sat gripping the wheel because going home meant it was real. You were there each time after, when the joy came wrapped in fear, when I whispered please stay to my own body, when I negotiated with every day of the calendar, just let me reach 8 weeks, just let me reach 12, just let me hear the heartbeat one more time. You saw me hold my breath through every scan. You saw my eyes go first to the technician's face, reading it before she spoke, because I had learned the silence, I knew the silence had a texture I could recognize from across the room. A weight the air takes on just before a heart is asked to break again. And you saw what happened afterward every time. How I comforted the people who did not know how to comfort me. How I went back to work with my body still bleeding and my arms still empty. How I smiled through gatherings while a due date burned quietly inside my chest like a small private eclipse. Divine Presence, I am not going to pretend with you tonight. It has been so much. It has been more than anyone around me ever understood because they counted events and I was counting children. Every loss cracked me along the lines of the losses before it, and I have wondered in my darkest hours whether I was being punished, whether I was somehow unworthy of the one thing my heart wanted most, whether heaven had simply decided that motherhood was for other women and not for me. Tonight, in your presence, I let those questions rise to the surface, not to be argued with but to be melted, because I feel what is true here in this light. I was never punished. I was never rejected. I was never overlooked. A daughter is not punished by the love that made her. My losses were not messages, not verdicts, not sentences handed down. They were losses, devastating and real, and through every single one of them, you were not on the side of the pain. You were on the floor beside me, closer than my own breath, catching every tear the world never saw, keeping a record of every silent midnight, treasuring every whispered name as if it were a psalm. So I receive that closeness now. I stop bracing against you. I let your presence come all the way into the guarded rooms, into the archived hopes, into the part of me that stopped asking for comfort because it stopped believing comfort would come. Let it come now. Let it come like warmth into cold hands, gradual and real, the kind of warmth that does not startle, the kind that arrives slowly enough to be trusted by a heart that has learned to be careful with hope. I receive the truth that I have never once grieved alone. Even when every human room was empty, I received the truth that my tears were collected, every one of them all these years, and that not a single midnight went unwitnessed. I received the truth that I am seen, fully seen, the public me who coped and the private me who crumbled, and that both of them are loved without measure and without condition. Divine Presence, stay close now as this prayer deepens. There are rooms in my heart we are going to enter together tonight. Rooms I sealed years ago because entering them alone was unbearable. The room where their names are kept. The room where the guilt lives. The room where my body and I stop speaking to each other. I am not afraid to enter them with you. For the first time in a long time I am not afraid. Because I am not walking in as a woman abandoned by heaven. I am walking in as a daughter accompanied by it. So let the light come with us. Let it move gently room by room at the pace my heart can bear. And let the first thing it touches be this weary chest under my hand. This heart that has broken more times than anyone knows and somehow never once stopped loving. Touch it now. Warm it now. Let relief begin to pour into it, slow and golden, like the first sunlight after the longest winter of my life, and let my heart recognize the feeling it had almost forgotten, the feeling of being held by something that will never ever let it fall. And now, Divine Presence, we enter the most sacred room of all, the room where my children live, and I want to do here what the world never gave me space to do. I want to honor them one by one, each of them whole and separate and irreplaceable, because they were never a blur of sorrow. They were babies. My babies. Each one arrived as its own universe. Each one had its own moment of discovery, its own first flutter of hope, its own place in my heart that no other could ever occupy. So I bring them forward now, into your light, in the order they came to me. I remember the first and everything the first one carried, the innocence, the pure unguarded joy, the version of me that still believed wanting was enough. That baby made me a mother. Whatever came after, that truth was born and it never died. And no loss that followed was ever able to reach backward and undo it. I honor you, my first. You were the beginning of everything I became. You were real. You are real. You will always be real. I remember each one that followed, and I refused to rush past any of them. The baby of cautious hope. The baby I told almost no one about. The baby whose due date I still know without thinking. The baby who came after I promised myself I could not survive another loss. And who proved that my heart was braver than my fear. Each of you, I see you now. Each of you, I say to you now, you were wanted. You were wanted before you existed. You were loved at the very first second I knew of you, and my love did not wait for a heartbeat to begin and did not end when a heartbeat stopped. Love arrived first, before any test, before any scan, in the very instant of knowing, and love is still here, unchanged, undiminished, keeping every promise it ever made to each of you. If I have given you names, I speak them now one by one slowly, and I feel how each name lands in a different place in my chest, because you were never interchangeable, not to me, not ever. And if some of you were never named, then tonight, in the presence of the one who knew you before I did, I name you now, or I call you by the only titles that matter: my first, my second, my third, my child, my child, my child. Heaven has no trouble understanding a mother's arithmetic because heaven counts exactly the way a mother counts, missing no one, forgetting no one, ranking no one. Divine Presence, receive my gratitude now, because it is real and it has been buried under the pain for too long. Thank you for every single one of them. Thank you for every day I got to carry them, whether it was many weeks or only a few. Those days were not a cruel joke. They were days of real motherhood. Days when I ate differently and slept differently and dreamed differently because someone was with me. Thank you for the joy, even the joy that ended, because it was true while it lasted. And no ending can reach backward and make a true thing false. Thank you for what each baby awakened in me. Capacities of love I did not know I had. Chambers of my heart that opened and have never closed since. I am larger because of them. I am deeper because of them. My patience, my tenderness, my capacity to sit with another person's pain without flinching, all of it was carved and widened by loving them. Every one of my children changed me, and I carry those changes the way other mothers carry photographs. And now let me speak to them directly, my little ones, all of you together now, listening from the light. I am your mother. Nothing that happened changed that, nothing ever could. I have thought of you on every one of your due dates. I have counted your ages silently, you would be this many years old now, and I have imagined you at every stage, your faces, your voices, whether you would have had my eyes, whether you would have been the quiet one or the storm, the reader or the runner, the one who slept easily or the one who fought every bedtime with glorious stubbornness. I want you to know that you were not too small to matter. You were not too brief to be real. You existed, and your existence rearranged my entire heart. And the space each of you occupies in me will never be given to anyone else, because love does not reassign rooms. And I want you to know that I am learning, slowly, with help from heaven itself, to carry you with more light and less agony, not because you weigh less to me now, but because I am finally letting love help me hold you. Divine Presence, keep their memory vivid in me. Guard the small things, the exact date of each positive test, the words I whispered to each of them in the dark, the songs I hummed with my hand on my belly. Let nothing precious be lost to time. And let word reach them, in whatever way love travels in your presence, that tonight their mother stood in the light and called them each by name, and claimed them each without shame, and thanked heaven for every single one of them, out loud with her hand over her heart, the way mothers do. Divine Presence, now we enter the heaviest room, and I feel your warmth beside me as the door opens. This is the room where the guilt has lived all these years. And tonight I am not here to feed it. I am here to let your light dissolve it. I lay it all out where love can see it. The questions that have circled me at 3 in the morning. Was it the coffee? Was it the stress? Was it that I worked too hard, worried too much, waited too long, wanted it too badly? Was it the day I lifted the box, the week I forgot the vitamins, the moment I felt fear instead of faith? And beneath all the questions, the darkest one, the one I have never said aloud, was it me? Is there something wrong with me? Did my babies die because their mother's body was a place they could not survive? I have carried that question like a splinter under everything, through every appointment, every test, every hopeful beginning, and it has poisoned moments that should have been pure. Tonight, daughter that I am, I let heaven answer what I could never answer for myself, and I receive the answer into every cell. It was not me. It was not the coffee or the stress or the lifting or the worry. It was not my ambition, my anxiety, my age, or my imperfect faith. My babies were not taken from me as a consequence because that is not how love operates, and everything that is true operates through love. I receive this truth now not as words, but as warmth moving into the exact places where the guilt has been living, into my chest, into my throat, into my womb. And to my body, my faithful body, I owe words that are long overdue. Body, I am sorry for the way I have spoken to you. I called you broken. I called you a failure. I treated you like the scene of a crime. I stood in front of mirrors and looked at you with accusation, and I flinched away from the part of you that was only ever a home. Tonight I take it all back. You did not fail me. You tried every single time with everything you had. You built each nest with total devotion. You held on as long as holding on was possible, and when it was not, you grieved with me, you bled with me, you ached with me. You were never my enemy. You were the other mourner in the house, and I left you to mourn alone, unthanked and accused, while you kept faithfully serving me anyway, breath after breath, year after year. Never again. Tonight, body, we are reconciled. My hand rests on you now not as an inspector but as a friend, and from this night forward, when I touch my own womb, I will touch it the way one touches sacred ground, because that is what you are. Not a graveyard. A birthplace of love. Every one of my children knew you as their first home. Their only home. The place where they were warm and wanted and surrounded. That can never be taken from you or from me. Divine Presence, I also release the anger tonight, all of it layer by layer. The anger at the doctors who delivered devastation with clinical detachment, who said these things just happen and moved to the next appointment while my world ended on their table. The anger at the people who compared my babies to bad weather, to bad luck, to lessons I was supposed to learn. The anger at every person who said at least, because every sentence that begins with at least builds a fence around a grief it refuses to enter. The anger at the pregnant strangers, the effortless announcements, the baby aisles I detoured around, and the shame I carried for feeling that envy at all. And yes, the anger I have aimed at heaven itself, in nights when the silence up there felt like refusal. I do not deny any of it, and I am not condemned for any of it. Anger was love with nowhere to go, standing guard over my babies when I had no other way to protect them. But it has been burning my own hands all this time, and my hands have other work now, gentler work. So I open them. I let the anger lift out of me like heat leaving a stone at dusk, gradual, natural, complete. Where it lived, let softness move in. And the shame, the oldest tenant of all, the shame of being the woman this kept happening to, the shame that made me lower my eyes, shrink my story, apologize for my own sorrow, I evict it now, finally and forever. I have nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. I loved. I hoped. I tried again, which is the bravest thing a shattered heart can do, and I did it more than once. Let the record of heaven show what the records of earth never captured, that this woman was never a failure, never cursed, never less. She was and is a mother of extraordinary courage, a woman who kept choosing love in the face of everything love had already cost her, a heart that broke and stayed open anyway, and tonight, in the light of the only presence whose opinion is final, she stands completely forgiven of things that were never her fault, completely cleansed of shame that was never hers to wear, and completely unshakably loved. Divine Presence, now let the healing turn fully toward this body. This brave and weary body that has carried every chapter of this story in its very tissue. I do not plead for this healing. I open to it because it has been waiting at the door of me for years, and tonight I finally turn the handle. Let it begin at my heart. This heart that has broken and reassembled itself more times than anyone knows. There is a specific ache here, an ache with layers, one layer for each of my babies, and I do not ask for the layers to be erased, only for the pain to be lifted out of them so that what remains is the love, clean and warm and wearable. Let warmth pour into my chest now, slow and golden. With every breath, more warmth. With every exhale, less weight. My heart has spent years guarding its own wreckage. Tonight it stands down. Tonight it lets itself be tended. Now my throat, where so much has been swallowed. The sobs I muffled in workplace bathrooms. The words I could not say at gatherings. The names I stopped speaking because speaking them made people uncomfortable. The scream that has lived quietly at the base of my voice since the first loss and grown with every one after. Let this throat be unbound now. Let the knot dissolve strand by strand. Give me back my voice in its fullness, so that I can speak of my children when I choose to, cry when crying comes, and sing again someday without the sound catching on old grief. Now my womb, and let all of heaven be gentle here. Because this is the most tender ground in my entire body. Let light move into my womb now, warm and unhurried, into every wall, every scar, every cell that remembers. This womb has known presence and absence, fullness and emptiness, hello and goodbye. and it has held all of it without ever once being thanked. I thank it now, and I receive its healing now. Let every trace of trauma held in this tissue be gently released. Let the memory of loss be separated from the memory of love, so that when my womb remembers my babies, it remembers being their home, not their ending. Let this part of me become quiet ground again, peaceful ground, ground where nothing has to be feared anymore. Let my hormones find their rhythm, my cycles their peace, my whole reproductive being its rest, released at last from years of hypervigilance and heartbreak. And speak now, divine presence, to my nervous system, in the wordless language it trusts. Tell it the sirens can stop. It has been scanning for danger for years, inspecting, monitoring, bracing for the next loss even in seasons when nothing was at risk. It learned fear as a survival skill, and it practiced that skill faithfully, without a single day off, through every season and every calendar. And it is so tired in a way that reaches beneath language. Let it stand down now. Let the alarm bells be wrapped in wool. Teach my body breath by breath that this moment, this exact moment, is safe. And heal my sleep. You know what my nights have been. The insomnia of dread, the dreams where I am pregnant again, the crueler dreams where the babies are alive and in my arms, and the waking, always the waking, losing them again in the first gray seconds of morning. Bless my nights from this day on. Let my bedroom become safe territory again. And let the hour of lying down stop being the hour when everything unprocessed arrives. Let sleep become a place of restoration instead of ambush. If my children visit my dreams, let them come wrapped in peace. Let the dreams feel like visits and not like wounds, and let me wake from them warmed instead of gutted. Restore everything the grief has drained, the deep exhaustion that lives beneath my bones, the fog that has dulled my mind through years of quiet mourning. The immune system, the blood pressure, the appetite, the vitality, every system that has been running on survival mode since the first loss. Let renewal move through me now like spring moving through a valley, patient and thorough and unstoppable, touching everything, skipping nothing, from the crown of my head, through my tired eyes that have cried in secret, through my jaw that has held itself steady through 1,000 painful conversations, down through my chest, my belly, my womb, my hips, down through legs that kept walking into clinics and out of them, all the way to the soles of my feet. And as this river of healing moves through me, let my body absorb the deepest lesson of this night. Softness is not forgetting. Peace is not abandonment. A body that heals is not a body that stops being their home. I can be well and still be their mother. I can be whole and still be theirs. The love was never the thing that was crushing me. It was the guilt, the shame, the vigilance, the loneliness. Those are leaving now, one exhale at a time. And what remains, filling every space they vacate, is the love, only the love, at last free to be carried lightly, the way it always wanted to be carried. Divine presence, now lift my eyes toward the truth that changes everything. The truth about where my children are and what my love still reaches. I have spent years relating to my babies through the wound, through the dates and the losses and the endings. Tonight, I begin relating to them through the light. Because they are not lost. Lost means no one knows where they are, and that has never been true of my children, not for 1 second. They are in you. They have been in you since the moment they left me, held in a tenderness beyond anything even my mother's heart could have offered, and my mother's heart could have offered everything. They were never alone in their leaving. They pass from one home into another, from my body into your embrace, and there was no gap between the two, no cold corridor, no frightening dark. Love received them from love, hand to hand, home to home, with the seamlessness of a mother lifting a sleeping child from one room to another without ever waking them. I receive that image now and I let it settle into the deepest part of me, the part that has secretly worried all these years about whether they were okay. They are okay. They are more than okay. They are safe, they are whole, they are radiant, and they are together. My children are together. Let me hold that thought the way one holds something warm in cold hands. All of them, every single one, in the same light, knowing each other, belonging to each other, brothers and sisters gathered in a place where nothing can ever be taken from anyone again. Recognizing each other instantly, bound to each other through me, through the one heart that carried every single one of them. The family I ache to build on earth exists, complete and joyful, on the other side of a veil so thin that love passes through it without effort. And I am not outside that family looking in. I am its center. I am its mother. And love does pass through it. This is the truth I claim tonight. The bond between a mother and her child is not made of biology alone, and so it does not end where biology ends. Every time I have thought of them, they have felt it. Every candle I lit, every tear on a due date, every silent happy birthday whispered into an ordinary morning, all of it arrived. Nothing I ever sent them was returned undelivered. And everything they are sends back to me, in ways I am only now learning to receive. The sudden warmth in a quiet moment. The peace that sometimes falls over me without explanation. The dream that felt realer than the room I woke into. The small signs I talked myself out of because I was afraid of wanting them too much. I will not talk myself out of them anymore. I keep my heart open and my eyes soft, and when comfort comes, I will call it what it is. Divine presence. I also received tonight the great reordering of my story. For years I have counted my losses. From tonight I count my children. The number does not change, but everything about carrying it changes. I am not a woman to whom terrible things happen several times. I am a mother whose children live in the light, a mother with a family larger than anyone can see, a mother whose love has already stretched across the boundary between worlds and found that it holds. And I hold the greatest hope of all, not as a desperate wish but as a quiet certainty planted in me by the same love that made me. This separation is a season, not a sentence. There will be a reunion. I do not know its hour and I do not need to. I only know what my heart insists on with a confidence older than my grief, that one day I will be with them, all of them, and I will finally see the faces I only ever imagined, and I will know each one instantly, the way mothers know, and the first embrace will contain every birthday we missed, every bedtime story, every ordinary golden afternoon that was supposed to be ours. Whatever was interrupted will be completed. Whatever was promised to my heart will be kept, because the one who made the promise does not break promises. Until that day I live differently. I live as a woman with children in two worlds. I walk through my days accompanied. When beauty stops me, a sky, a song, a field of flowers in the sun, I will share it with them silently. Look, my loves, look at this, and I will trust that they see it through me. My life itself becomes the bridge. Every act of kindness I perform carries their names hidden inside it. Every bit of joy I allow myself honors them, because no child in any world wants their mother to live in ruins. So I receive permission tonight, full and final, to live, to laugh again, to feel the sun on my face without guilt, knowing with complete certainty that my children are not behind me in some abandoned past. They are ahead of me and around me and within me, woven into the light itself, waiting without impatience, loving without interruption, mine without end. Divine presence, as this prayer begins to seal itself into me, let the final healing be the healing of my name. Because for years the question has haunted the edges of every form I filled, every small talk conversation, every quiet moment of self-definition. Am I a mother? The world was never sure what to call me, and so it mostly called me nothing, and in the vacuum I called myself the cruelest things. Tonight the question is answered forever, and I receive the answer standing in full light. I am a mother. I did not almost become one. I did not fail to become one. I became one the moment my first baby existed, and every child after made me a mother again. My motherhood is not pending, not partial, not provisional. It is complete, and it has been complete all along, through every year the world failed to see it, through every form that had no box for my truth, through every conversation that moved on before I could decide whether to speak. Arms were never the measure. Love was always the measure, and by that measure I am wealthy beyond counting. So from tonight, when my heart asks who I am, I answer without flinching. I am a mother. I mother in ways the world does not have eyes for. I remember birthdays no calendar shows. I love children no photograph holds. I carry a family in my chest through every ordinary errand of my life, and I do it with a grace that only heaven has fully witnessed. Let this identity settle over me now like a mantle, warm and permanent. Let it heal the specific wound of Mother's Days spent invisible, of baby showers survived with a smile, of the question, do you have children, and the thousand silent negotiations it triggered. I will answer that question however I choose in each moment with whatever protects my peace, and every answer will be true, because the truest answer lives in me and does not require anyone's understanding to remain true. And now, Divine Presence, seal everything this night has opened. Seal the reconciliation with my body, so that my hands keep touching my womb with reverence long after this prayer ends. Seal the release of guilt, so that if the old questions return at 3 in the morning, they find the locks changed and warmth living where the accusations used to. Seal the names of my children in me, each one distinct, each one honored, each one eternally counted. Seal the knowledge of where they are, safe and together and radiant, so that my heart never again wonders in the dark whether they are okay. Seal my permission to live, to feel joy without treason, to walk forward without leaving anyone behind, because a mother with children in the light does not move away from them by living. She moves through a world they now see entirely through her eyes, and every beautiful thing she allows herself becomes something she gives them too. Let me be, from this night on, a woman visibly at peace and invisibly accompanied. And let something else grow where the shame used to live, something I have not felt in years, gentleness toward myself. Let me speak to myself the way I would speak to another mother with my exact story, because if she sat across from me and told me everything I have lived, I would not see failure. I would see the bravest woman in the room, and I would want to hold her hands and tell her she has nothing left to prove to anyone. Let me finally see her in the mirror, and let me offer her, every day from now on, the same mercy I have always found so easy to give to everyone else. Divine Presence, I place this whole prayer into your keeping now, every word, every tear it carried, every name spoken inside it, every year of silence that finally found a voice tonight. Let it keep working in me after the video ends, in my sleep, in my body, in the quiet automatic places where the old pain used to operate. Let relief keep arriving in waves for days, gentle and unearned, the inheritance of a daughter who finally came home to be comforted. And to my children, one last word before amen. Good night, my loves. Not goodbye, never goodbye, only good night, the way mothers say it, with the absolute certainty of morning. Stay close to each other. Stay close to me. I will feel you in the warm moments, I will look for you in the light, and I will carry you, all of you, every day of my life, not as weight anymore but as wings. I am your mother. You are my children. And nothing in any world will ever change that. Amen. Amen. With my hand on my heart and my hand on my womb, amen. Rest here a moment now. Do not rush back. Feel the stillness in the room, how it is different from the stillness you brought in with you. That difference is real. Something has shifted in the deep architecture of your grief tonight. And though the love remains exactly as vast as it always was, notice gently how much lighter it sits. That lightness is not forgetting. That lightness is love, finally carried the way it was always meant to be carried, with help in light forever. Welcome back, beautiful soul. Come back slowly. There is no rush and there is nowhere you need to be except exactly here. Feel your fingers. Feel the surface holding you. Notice the room, the light, the quiet. And notice yourself, because you are not quite the same woman who pressed play. If you cried tonight, every one of those tears was sacred. Some of them were years old, and your body thanks you for finally letting them travel. If you did not cry, that is equally perfect, because grief this deep sometimes moves in silence, and silence is also a language heaven speaks fluently. If you drifted or slept through parts of the prayer, trust completely that nothing was lost. Your nervous system received every word in the deepest state possible, and rest itself was medicine tonight. Drink some water when you can. Be unusually gentle with yourself for the rest of today, and tomorrow too. What you just did was enormous, and most people will never know the courage it required. You entered rooms of your heart that have been sealed for years. You named your children. You made peace with your body. You let yourself be mothered by heaven while being honored as a mother yourself. Almost no one ever gives themselves this, and you did. Before you go, I want to invite you into something beautiful. In the comments below, write the word mother. Just that one word. It is a declaration, your declaration, that you are and always will be their mother, that every one of your babies counted, and that no loss ever had the power to take your motherhood away. And if your heart feels ready, you may also share how many little ones you carry in your heart, or their names, or simply their order: my first, my second, my third. Their names deserve to exist in the light. Something extraordinary happens in the comment section of prayers like this one. Mothers who have grieved alone for years, sometimes decades, suddenly find themselves surrounded by women who understand everything without a single explanation. Your one word might reach a mother on the other side of the world tonight, sitting in the dark with her secret grief, and show her that she is not alone and never was. That is a ministry, and it costs you 10 seconds. While you are there, look at the pinned comment. I left a gift for you, completely free, a gentle companion guide created for hearts that carry deep loss. with simple practices for the hard days, the due dates that never became birthdays, the anniversaries only you remember, and the nights when the wave returns without warning. And if your heart is asking for more than a single prayer, if it is asking for a hand to hold day after day, you will also find there a gentle 21-day healing journey called Held After Loss, created to walk beside you one small step at a time, with no pressure and no rushing, because that is the only pace real healing respects. Everything is linked in the pinned comment and in the description below this video. If this prayer touched something true in you, subscribe to the channel. It takes 2 seconds and it means these prayers will find you again on the days you need them most. Every week, this space creates new healing prayers for the pain people carry in silence, pregnancy loss, grief, the ache of empty arms, the wounds that hide behind the words "I am fine." There is a growing library here made for hearts exactly like yours, including prayers for the mother afraid to try again, for the birthday no one celebrates, and for the baby you never got to hold. Subscribing also tells this platform that content like this matters, which helps these prayers reach the millions of grieving mothers scrolling in the dark right now, looking for exactly what you found tonight. Save this video somewhere you can reach it easily because the tender dates will come, and on those days you will not have energy to search. Let this prayer be waiting for you, patient and unchanged, ready to hold you as many times as you need. Returning here often is not weakness and it is not going backward. It is exactly how deep healing works, layer by layer, visit by visit, and each time you return, the prayer will meet a slightly different you and reach something new. And if another mother came to your mind tonight, a sister, a friend, a co-worker whose losses you know about or quietly suspect, send her this prayer. You do not need the perfect words. Just say, "I thought of you." That small message might open a door she stopped believing existed. Thank you for trusting this space with the most sacred thing you carry. Go gently now, mother. Speak to your little ones today in your own way and feel how the conversation has changed, how there is more light in it now. They are yours. All of them. Forever. And you, dear one, are theirs and you are loved, more than you have ever been told. God bless you. God bless every one of your babies. The light is in command, trust. See you in the next prayer.